Hello, viewers. Welcome to End Time Hope channel. Today, we are going to be looking at a very important topic in our marriage series. It is the topic of divorce and its place in biblical perspective. Today, we are going to be exploring divorce and what the Bible has to say about it. And with us here today is the pastor of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. He is the district pastor at Sabah District of Seventh-day Adventist Church. He is by name Pastor Ezekiel Arebo. Pastor, please, can you greet our viewers?
Viewers, God bless you.
In our world today, we see so many beautiful families all around. We see people getting married almost every day of the week. And it's a beautiful thing to see. And youths, young people who are still single, crave for marriage. They see it as a nice thing to have their own family and all of those beautiful experiences. But at the other side of the story is a very ugly situation. A situation where even the married ones are trying to separate or divorce. It is when people who are already married would be optioning to divorce. And it becomes very concerning to even the young ones who anticipate to go into marriage. And so we know divorce as a situation where married couples decide that they are no longer interested in the marriage. Pastor, please, would you explain to us what possible reasons we have for people to want to divorce? What are the reasons that people would want to say, okay, it is time for us to go our separate ways, even after getting married for several years?
God bless you, my brother. It's a very terrible situation we are experiencing presently in our world. You know, it is part of the great controversy that we'll be talking about as a church and as a body. There are two institutions that God established in the Garden of Eden that Satan have never been happy with. One of them is marriage, that we are talking about now. Satan have never been happy that people marry, they have a good life, there is joy, there is peace, there is progress. Why? He knows that when there is peace in the home, people will reverend God and they will worship God. So when there is crisis, the possibility of giving God that due worship and reverence will not be there.
Okay.
So that is what he'll be doing. So he'll be targeting marriage, and divorce is contrary to God's original purpose in creating marriage, as recorded in Matthew 19:3-8. But the Bible is not silent about it, because divorce occurs as part of the fallen human experience from the fall of Adam and Eve. So that day they fell, all this attendance problem was part of the consequences that follow. The Bible consistently seeks to elevate marriage and discourage divorce, but the other side have been the case, especially now. Not even among the newly wedded, we are seeing divorce of couples that live for about 35 years together, 20 years, 15, 10, and recently among the very young couples, 6 months, 3 months, even a month in marriage. There are several reasons, because God predicated marriage on simple principles. Obedience to his will. Marriage rests on principles of love, loyalty, exclusiveness, trust, and support, upheld by both partners in obedience to God's will, as recorded in Genesis chapter 2:24 and Matthew 19:6. So if all these principles are broken, principles of love, loyalty, exclusiveness, trust, then supporting one another, when couples go against these principles, that marriage must surely crash. So the reason why we are experiencing this upsurge in divorce in marriage today is because people have failed to obey God's principles for marriage. They have decided to bring in their own principles that have never worked into the marriage system against the will of God. So when you negate, your principle negates the will of God for your life, including marriage, there is going to be crisis.
Thank you, sir. I find that very interesting. It's a very wonderful exposition. We have been able to understand that the reason people divorce is basically because they go against the principles that God has slated for marriage. But since it is a rampant situation, of course, to some extent, we see that there are so many cases of divorce around the world today. Do you think that, or does the Bible have a time where divorce becomes an option? We, through your exposition, have understood that divorce has never been God's plan. In fact, it goes against God's plan for marriage. So, being against God's plan for marriage, is there a point at all in the marriage life where divorce becomes necessary?
Okay, I think the only place the Bible cited we can have authority is Matthew 5:32.
Okay.
When it talks about when there is an adultery, somebody commit adultery
Okay.
in marriage, whether the male or the female, then only on that ground, because they were asking Jesus, Moses gave certificate of divorce. What is happening? What do we do when you marry and this kind of thing happens? So he said, in the beginning, it was not so. It was never God's intention that when you marry, then you will what? You will divorce.
Okay.
It, because of the hardness of the heart of the children of Israel, he now said, now, only on the ground of adultery. Remember, he also said, we can forgive one another. So the only ground that we can find the Bible is only on that. Then another ground is the ground of abandonment. Ground of abandonment by an unbelieving partner, as recorded in 1 Corinthians chapter 7, from verse 10 to 15. 1 Corinthians 7, 10 to 15. Abandonment by an unbelieving partner. Maybe you are married to an unbeliever and you decide to go. Leave, you say, I'm no longer part of it. I don't want to be part of it because I cannot follow your religious practice. If he leave you on that ground, that is what Paul cited in that place.
Okay.
That there can be a divorce if you cannot forgive. But we have so many people that marry unbelievers, they are living together happily. Then another ground we are looking at recently, maybe as a church, as a body, is on the ground of violence that cannot be controlled. Especially when it threatens existence, it becomes existential issue. This one carry gun today, the other one carry knife tomorrow. There is issue of poison, and all of that. And you know that when you allow them to stay together, one person will die or both of them will die. As we have seen recently, couples killing each other and all that. So we advise that both parties, the husband and the wife, should separate for a season so that they can be counseled. They go through a counseling session, they meet professionals to advise, to look at issues. Then during that period of separation, if they are able to help them, they now see reason to come back and the violent aspect of it is removed. They are not safe to come back, they can come back. But when it persists that nothing can be done to help them, they will remain like that. The man cannot marry another woman, the woman cannot marry another man. They will be separated except one of them go against the marriage will and marry, then the other person is married. The other person can marry, or one of them die. Because death is another thing that can separate marriage. When one of the couples die, that's okay, you have died while we're in separation, let me marry. You can marry like that. Only on those grounds that we can do divorce. But to God's plan and purpose for marriage, divorce was never part of the plan.